The student received a difficult assignment, and his solution shocked the professor. Hello, friends. Today I will tell you a profound and captivating story about a young man whose brilliance and perseverance not only astonished his professor, but also left an indelible mark on the world. This story, which unfolded many years ago, might seem like a simple tale at first glance, but its implications are far-reaching, influencing millions of lives across the globe. There are no supernatural elements here, no magic, no miracles, and yet the sheer human determination and serendipity involved make it no less extraordinary. Every self-respecting successful person is familiar with this story, and I believe each one of you should hear it too. Our story begins in the distant year of 1914, in a small nondescript town, where a baby named Michael Bradford was born to a humble family of immigrants. His father, a stern and disciplined man, was a mathematics teacher, while his mother, a kind and nurturing woman, was a linguist who spent her days among towering shelves of books in the local library. From a young age, Michael was surrounded by the world of knowledge, but his early childhood was nothing extraordinary. He was like any other boy of his time, playful, curious, and occasionally mischievous. However, there was one thing that set Michael's upbringing apart: his father's insistence on mastering geometry. Day after day, Michael found himself solving geometric problems under his father's watchful eyes. It wasn't out of passion or love for the subject, but rather a sense of duty that Michael persevered. He was not a prodigy, not a child genius, whose name would echo through academic halls. Yet, by the time he was ready to graduate high school, he had developed a solid understanding of mathematics, which eventually earned him a place at the prestigious University of New York in the Faculty of Mathematics. Michael's university life was far from exemplary. He was an ordinary student, indistinguishable from the hundreds of others who filled the lecture halls. In fact, Michael was known more for his tendency to skip classes than for any academic excellence. His carefree attitude often earned him additional homework as punishment, particularly from his strict and demanding statistics professor, Dr. Martin. Little did Michael know that one such punishment would alter the course of his life forever. It was a chilly autumn morning in 1939 when Michael Bradford, then a 25-year-old student, found himself sprinting down one of the university's endless hallways. The air was crisp, carrying with it the scent of fallen leaves and the distant hum of morning lectures beginning across campus. Breathless and flustered, Michael knew he was late, again, for Dr. Martin's notorious strict statistics lecture. His shoes echoed against the polished floors as he weaved through throngs of students who had already settled into their routines. As he approached the grand auditorium, its towering doors seemed more imposing than ever. He hesitated for a moment, his heart pounding not just from the sprint, but from the dread of facing Dr. Martin's sharp gaze and the inevitable disapproving glance that came with his habitual tardiness. Taking a deep breath, Michael quietly pushed the door open, hoping to slip inside unnoticed. To his relief, the professor was engrossed in writing on the blackboard, two complex mathematical problems scrawled in chalk, their intricate symbols and numbers almost dancing across the surface. Assuming that these were the next homework assignments, Michael quickly jotted them down in his notebook without giving them much thought. Little did he know that this seemingly mundane moment would become the turning point of his life. That evening, as Michael sat at his small wooden desk in his cramped dormitory, the dim glow of the desk lamp illuminating his cluttered workspace, he stared at the two problems, his brow furrowed in frustration. They were unusually difficult, far more challenging than anything he had encountered before. Doubts began to creep in. Had he missed an important explanation at the beginning of the lecture? Was there a trick or a hint that he was unaware of? The weight of uncertainty pressed down on him, but there was no turning back now. Determined to complete the assignment, Michael embarked on what would become an intellectual odyssey. Sleepless nights followed, filled with frantic calculations, endless erasures, and countless sheets of crumpled paper littering the floor. His room became a battleground, the soft glow of his lamp a beacon in the dark hours of the night. He pored over textbooks, consulted every reference he could find, and pushed his mind to its limits. Each failure only fueled his determination, and each dead end forced him to think more creatively. Days turned into weeks, and Michael's once neatly kept room transformed into a chaotic space reflecting the turmoil within his mind. Crumpled papers littered the floor, walls were covered with hastily scribbled equations, and half-empty coffee cups were scattered across his desk. Sleep became a luxury he could no longer afford as he wrestled with the seemingly insurmountable challenges before him. Each failure pushed him deeper into despair, yet a flicker of determination kept him going. Finally, after relentless effort and countless hours, he found the solutions. The moment was surreal. His shaking hands clutched the worn notebook, filled with pages of meticulous calculations. With a mixture of relief and exhaustion, he submitted his notebook to Dr. Thayer Martin, who accepted it absent-mindedly, placing it on his desk without a second glance. Michael left the office with a heavy heart, wondering if all his effort would ever amount to anything. Weeks went by with no word from Dr. Martin. Michael grew anxious, fearing the worst. The silence was deafening. Each day, he replayed every step, every formula, searching for errors that might have gone unnoticed. He imagined scenarios of having misunderstood the assignment, or worse, having made grave errors that would tarnish his academic future. The anticipation gnawed at him, making each passing day feel interminable. Friends noticed his distant demeanor, but he could not share his burden with them. Then, one day, an envelope arrived, summoning him to the dean's office. His heart pounded violently as he walked through the grand halls of the university, expecting reprimand or even expulsion. To his astonishment, the room was filled with unfamiliar faces, all distinguished scholars, along with Dr. Martin. The atmosphere was electric, yet Michael felt out of place. The professor's eyes sparkled with excitement as he held Michael's notebook like a priceless artifact. "Congratulations, Michael. How did you do it? Did someone help you?" Dr. Martin's voice was filled with genuine awe, echoing through the room. Michael was bewildered. His mind raced as he tried to comprehend the situation. "Do what, Professor?" he asked hesitantly, his voice barely a whisper. Dr. Martin smiled warmly, revealing the truth that left Michael stunned. The two problems he had solved were not homework assignments. They were famous, unsolved problems that had baffled the greatest mathematical minds for decades. The room erupted into applause, but Michael stood frozen, struggling to process the magnitude of his achievement. His accidental ignorance of their impossibility had freed him from the mental constraints that paralyzed others. His solutions were groundbreaking, earning him recognition from the Mathematical Academy of Sciences. What followed was a whirlwind of events: interviews, invitations to prestigious conferences, and offers from renowned universities. Yet, amid the accolades, Michael often found himself reflecting on that fateful day. Years later, Michael Bradford went on to revolutionize the field of mathematics with his development of the simplex method, laying the foundation for linear programming. His contributions earned him numerous accolades, including the National Medal of Science and an honorary doctorate. But no award was as precious as the lesson he learned. The human mind is capable of extraordinary feats when unshackled from the chains of self-doubt. One stormy night, as he stood before an audience delivering a lecture, Michael ended with a poignant reflection. "Had I known they were unsolvable, I would have never solved them," he said with a wistful smile. Thunder rumbled in the distance, punctuating his words. The audience sat in contemplative silence. This story is a testament to the boundless potential within us. Sometimes, our greatest limitations are the ones we impose on ourselves. As lightning illuminated the night sky outside, Michael posed a question that lingered in the minds of all present. What if the only thing standing between us and the impossible is our belief that it cannot be done? The auditorium erupted into applause, but amidst the noise, Michael's voice echoed softly. "Remember, the only true impossibility is the one we accept."